Hello there everybody, it is Tegan here again today, and for this video I'm going to be talking to you guys about something that is very exciting. It's something that is very exciting that happened to me last week on the 22nd of August, and that is that I attended Interactive Introverts, which is Dan and Phil's live show. It's their tour that they are on right now, and I attended the first Brisbane show and it was absolutely incredible. And if you would like to hear my experience of meeting them, because I had VIP, so I got to meet them, and then just a little bit about the show because I don't really want to spoil it if you're still attending it, but yeah, if you'd like to hear my entire experience, then keep watching. So if you don't know, Dan and Phil are like some of my favorite people in the entire world. They were the very first YouTubers I ever watched, and I've been watching them for about 7 years. They were the very first YouTubers that I ever came across, I ever started watching. It was Dan and Phil, and I have loved them so much for so long. When they came in 2016, I believe it was, to Australia, I missed out on getting tickets. I was not able to get tickets for The Amazing Tours on Fire, and I was devastated. And when they announced that they were coming back for Interactive Introverts in 2018, I knew I had to get tickets. I was not going to miss out on seeing Dan and Phil again, and I desperately wanted VIP tickets. I wanted to meet them, I wanted to tell them thank you, and I wanted to hug them. I just wanted to meet them. So I made it a priority to be able to get VIP tickets. So tickets actually went on sale on the day of my high school graduation, which was very helpful. So I was sitting at home on the day of my graduation, and I was actually slightly late to my graduation because I was attempting to get VIP tickets for Dan and Phil. So thanks, Dan and Phil, you made me late for my graduation. It was a very large and stressful process. It's probably one of the most stressful things I've ever had to do ever. So basically, Dan and Phil were in Brisbane for 2 nights, but I was only going on one of the nights, and then I was also buying my little brother a ticket for Christmas. So I had to get 2 tickets, but I wasn't getting him VIP tickets, I was just buying him a normal ticket a little bit further back because VIP was the first few rows. So I had to get him a ticket and I had to get me a ticket. So I went into the website, I was waiting and waiting and waiting until it turned to the time for tickets to go on sale, and tickets went on sale. I went in, all VIP tickets were gone for both days, and I was so upset. I was so upset because I had been so excited ever since they announced this tour that I was finally going to get the chance to meet them, and tickets sold out. So basically I bought myself a ticket that was very close. It was like the row behind VIP started, so it was very close, and then I bought my brother a ticket a little bit further back, and this was for the second day. This was for the Thursday show. So I bought those tickets, I had those tickets. I was like, oh, it sucks I'm not going to be able to meet them, but at least I get to go to the show and I'm going to be fairly close. I had those tickets, and then I went out and went back into the website just to see, and there was a VIP ticket that had become available for the Wednesday show. So I immediately went in and got it. I was like, I am not missing out on this. I am buying this ticket right now. So then I had 3 tickets to the show. But I then had to buy my brother a ticket for the Wednesday show, so we were going on the same day. So I then bought my brother a ticket for the Wednesday show. So then I had 4 tickets for this tour, and I only needed 2. And luckily I was able to sell the other 2 tickets for the Thursday show, so that all worked out fine. But yeah, I got VIP tickets, and I was, oh my god, it was literally the most stressful thing I've ever had to do, but it was so worth it because I knew I was finally going to be meeting these people that had literally shaped me into the person I am and had gotten me into this world that I hadn't known of before. And yeah, so I was finally going to be meeting them, and I was so excited. So this was last November. I bought the tickets last November, so it was about 10 months ago. So the time finally comes where it is the day of the show. Got up to Brisbane around 1 o'clock, 1:30 or so, and VIP was getting let in, or we had to be at the venue at 4 o'clock for VIP. So I wanted to be there slightly early because I didn't want to be like in the middle of like meeting them, because that's normally the worst place to be. So I got up there pretty early, and yeah, I waited in line, and there was a few other girls there, and I made friends with them, and they were so nice, and I'm so thankful for them, and they are incredible and amazing, and we've got a few group chats going where we still talk and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, so I'm very thankful for them, and they made the wait a lot of fun. We finally got let in for VIP, and we actually split up. So me and two other girls went to the front of the line. We sat in the very first 3 seats. I was the 3rd person to meet them. And yeah, we sat. They played some great music. They were playing Sean and 21 Pilots, and it was great. So thank you, Dan and Phil, for creating that great playlist. And then yeah, they walked in, so they came in through the back door, and I got a little bit of a video of them walking in, so I'll enter that in now. They were so cute, and this was the first time that I'd ever seen them in person. Like, I'd never actually seen them in real life before, and this was the very first time, and I was freaking out. My heart was beating out of my chest, and like, it's so different. Like, it's different meeting a YouTuber because they are literally just people who make videos in their bedrooms, and so it's different, but like, it still is so surreal to meet them. So they came in, they were very cute, and they stood behind the backdrop, and then the 3 of us, me and the 2 girls that I met, we all stood up and went to the backdrop, and we went up together because we were allowed to record each other meeting them, so we all went up there together. And the other 2 girls met them. Ugh. I love Dan and Phil so much. The other 2 girls met them, and then it was my turn. So I walked up to them and hugged them both. I hugged Phil first, and then I hugged Dan, and Phil full on wraps his arms around you. Like, he gives the best hugs. Dan's hugs are a little bit awkward. He like sort of just like grabs your shoulders and hugs you that way, but he's cute. I love him. And then I gave them this book to sign, which is Dan and Phil Go Outside. After I was done hugging them, Dan goes, "Oh, do you want us to sign your copy of DAP Go?" And so I gave it to them, and Dan signed it first, and then Phil signed it. So that's that there, and oh my god. And while Phil was signing it, I just said, "Can I just say, I've been watching you guys for like 7 years. You were the first YouTubers I ever watched, and I just wanted to say thank you." And and Phil was like, "Oh wow." And then Dan was like, "Oh my god. So what you're saying is we're the ones that ruined your life. I'm so sorry for bringing you into this." Oh, it just makes me smile so much. I love them. And then Phil was like, "Shall we get a photo?" And so then Dan took a photo of the 3 of us, and yeah. And in the photo, I am leaning more towards Dan, and that's just the way that it was. And Phil kind of looks left in the background, but like, I love Phil so much. Like, he is, oh, I love him so much. So yeah, and then Dan took my phone and took a photo of me and Phil together. It's cute. And then Phil took my phone and took a photo of me and Dan together, and oh, I just love them so much. And then yeah, Phil gave me back the book because he was holding it, and then Dan was like, "Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a really great time tonight. Like, we really appreciate it." And Phil said bye, and then I walked out, and oh, it's so surreal meeting people that you've watched for so long, because it just does not feel real. Like, it still doesn't feel real that I actually met them. Like, I met Dan and Phil. I've been watching them for like 7 years. Like, I've been watching them since they had like their full on emo hair. Hair was down to like here, and now they're so grown up, and I've grown up along with them, and they've genuinely changed me into the person I am today. It sounds so cheesy, but like, without them, I wouldn't like half of the stuff that I like today. I wouldn't know about all of the YouTubers that I watched today. I probably wouldn't have even gotten into YouTube without them if I hadn't stumbled across their videos. And like, they genuinely helped shape me into who I am today, and being able to meet them and being able to say thank you is just so surreal and so insane, and I'm so incredibly thankful and grateful and happy and everything that I actually got the chance to do it, because they mean the world to me. And I will insert in the video of me meeting them here. It's a little bit blurry and my hug with Phil and stuff got cut off and you can't hear it very well, but you can still see it. And yeah, so I will insert that in now.
I'll film it. Oh, okay.
I've been watching you guys for like 7 years.
Oh my god. Okay, well, I'm sorry for getting into it.
So after we left VIP, we got our VIP bags, which came with a few things. So this was the bag, which is really cute. It says Interactive Introverts, Dan and Phil 2018 World Tour, and the blue is like glittery, which I loved. And inside of that, I was meant to get a wristband, but mine didn't have the wristband in it, which kind of sucks, but oh well, I got enough as it was. So it also came with this, which is just like a little card with a photo of them on it. It's very cute. And then we also got our VIP laminates, which looks like this. And it's just got the same photo of them from the card, and then all of the dates and stuff on the back. And then the actual lanyard. Interactive Introverts, Dan and Phil 2018 World Tour all over it. And yeah, so I got those and I love them a lot. And then we went down to get merch, and because we were the first people to meet them, we were also the first people to get merch, so we didn't have to wait in a really long line, which was great. And I also bought my brother one thing, but I also bought myself that thing that I bought him, so I'll be showing you that. So basically I got this jumper that I'm wearing. It's just got the I on it, which Interactive Introverts, and it's got all of the countries that they went to on the tour down the sleeve, which I really like. And then the back is the same print as what is on the front of the shirt, so I will show you that. So it's basically just Interactive Introverts, Dan and Phil 2018 World Tour on the front, and that is what is on the back of this jumper. And then on the back of the shirt it just has all of the dates that they went to, which is cool. I have a bit of an issue with buying a lot of merch. I do it with every single thing I go to, and it's probably bad that I do it, but I do it anyways. So I also got this poster, which I need to put up. Yeah, it's just Interactive Introverts. It's just the logo, and then it's got them down the bottom. And then the last thing that I got, which is also the thing that I bought my brother because I told him for his birthday he could pick out one piece of merch, and he decided to get these. So I got, so this is also what I got my brother, but they're just little Dan and Phil plushies, which they've sold on their store before, but these are like official tour ones. So there's Dan and Phil, and they're wearing the outfits that they wore on stage. And then just on the back of the shirts it just says Interactive Introverts, and they're very cute and I love them a lot, and I've got them up on my bookshelves because they're just too cute. I love them so much. So yeah, after we got all of the merch and everything, we went back downstairs and we had to wait a few hours until we were let into the actual venue for the actual show. And then we got let in for the actual show, and I was second row. It was incredible, and like I was in an amazing spot. I was on Phil's side, and because like they have like their size that they stand on, but like they switch back and forth multiple times throughout the show, so like you still have both of them standing in front of you at one point. But I was on Phil's side and I was in like the perfect spot because there was still like 10 seats to the other side of me where I could have been further off from the middle of the stage, but I wasn't directly in the middle of the stage, but like I was still like in front of a part of the stage that they were actually using throughout the entire show, which was really cool. We weren't allowed to film at all during the show, which I'm kind of happy with because it just made it so much more intimate and incredible. And like, I know what you're thinking, like, oh, people probably still filmed. And like, honestly, there probably were people filming behind me, but security was going around telling people to put down their phones, my brother said, because he was sat a little bit further back, and he was saying that there was security going around and telling people to put their phones away, and there was nobody in the first few rows that had their phones out, which made it a lot more special and intimate for me, and I loved that a lot. So this is the part of the video where I'm going to talk just very, very, very briefly about the show. So if you haven't been to the tour yet and you don't want to know anything about the tour, then I would leave this video now, because I'm just going to be talking very briefly about it. But if you do want to hear a little bit about it, then you can stay. So the last two songs that they played before they came on stage were Welcome to the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance and Saturday Night, Say Amen by Panic at the Disco. And when they came on stage, Dan was like, you know, we heard you singing backstage and it sounded absolutely beautiful. If Gerard and Brendan were here, they would be shaking. And then Phil goes, they wouldn't just be shaking, Dan, they would be quaking. And then yeah, they did a bunch of amazing stuff throughout the show. They did like magic tricks, and they did truth bombs, and they did like Who Knows Who Best, and they just did a bunch of really fun things. And the entire idea of the tour was Interactive Introverts. So it's basically a bunch of introverts coming together and interacting, but they didn't actually have like actual audience participation, like standing up and getting up on stage or anything like that. Basically, before the show, they had this website where you could go on and select which show you were going to, and then answer a bunch of questions that they would be using somehow throughout the show. So it was basically like, that's what they used for everything throughout the show. So like all of the truth bombs, all of the questions, all of the survey stuff that they did, everything was through that. And because you could select your show that you were going to, all of the answers that people gave were from people in the audience, which was really, really cool, and I really loved that. One of my favorite things was right before they went off for the intermission, they were doing a survey, and the last question that they did was, who would you rather sacrifice, Dan or Phil? And that was basically their way of asking like, who's your favorite, without just straight out coming out and saying who's your favorite. And they didn't put up the answer, so it was like, who would you rather sacrifice, Dan or Phil? And they didn't put up the answer. They basically brought out this big wheel of death. Like, you know those big ones where like people are like strapped to it and then it spins around? Yeah, one of those. And they were like, after the intermission, whoever you said you would rather sacrifice is going to be on this wheel. And so the intermission happened, and the very last song that they played before they came back on after the intermission was the final countdown, which was great. And then they came back on, and Dan was on the wheel, and he was like full on strapped onto this wheel, and then Phil was like wearing this like lab gear, and oh my god. And then Phil started like throwing stuff at him and like slingshotting and bazooking, and oh my god, it was fantastic. It was so great. The very last thing that they did before they went off stage was they sang a song. So they basically put up 3 different options, and it was like, because the entire idea of the tour was giving the people what they want, so they put up 3 options. It was a cute dog running, Phil doing a diss track, because Dan has done a diss track in the past but Phil never did one, and Dan playing the piano, because we all know he can play the piano but he doesn't do it very often on his channel. So first they were like, alright, the dog wins. So they put up this really cute video of a dog running through snow, and it was great. And then they were like, you know, maybe we can give the people at least one more thing on the list. So Phil gets out like this hat and sunglasses and puts the hat on sideways and starts doing a amazing diss track. Oh my god, it was fantastic. And Phil never swears on his channel, but in the diss track he said bitch, and everybody screamed. It was great. And yeah, the diss track was fantastic. One of the lines, which it makes me sad that Phil thinks this, but like one of the lines was, "The only reason I'm here is people ship fan. I'm living in Dan's shadow." And oh, it makes me sad because I love Phil so much and I hate that he thinks that he lives in Dan's shadow. And then Dan gets brought out on the piano and he starts singing a song about like how they got started, like how Dan and Phil got started, and it was so cute and so sweet, and I started crying. I was crying throughout this last bit because I knew it was the last bit before the show was going to end. And then Phil puts back on the hat and is like, "This song sucks," or "people just want to hear the rap," or something like that, and he raps for a little bit longer. And then Dan's like, "Come on, Phil, don't you think people would rather if you like slowed it down and actually sang?" And then Phil gets into the middle of the stage and starts singing, and what he sings, honestly, every single time I think about it, it just makes me cry. So basically he gets there and he starts singing, "The future's unclear, but know this is true. You're as important to us as we are to you." And I know it's such a cheesy and cliche and everything line, but it just makes me so emotional because like they know how much they mean to us and they're saying that like we mean just as much to them, and that just makes me so emotional and I love them so much. And the fact that he goes, "The future's unclear," like I don't know, it makes me very emotional. They sing a song together as well. They get up and sing this song about interactive introverts, and then the show ends and they were talking about how like it's so insane that they started doing YouTube over 10 years ago and they can still come to the other side of the world, the literal opposite side of the world, and so many people still come out and see them. And all of the Australian shows were sold out, which makes my heart happy. And yeah, they were just talking about how it's so insane that they can still come to the other side of the world and how people will still come and see us and how it means the absolute world to them and how they love us so much. And yeah, I just love them so much. And during the show, one of the parts, they had like this big piece of paper for one of the magic tricks that they did, and they threw it out into the crowd, and I got a little piece of the piece of paper because like they were ripping up, like Phil was like, "Rip it up, share it around," and so I got a little piece of paper. It's literally just a blank sheet of paper, but I have it. And that was the show, and that was me meeting them, and it was genuinely one of the best things that has ever happened to me, that I've ever done, that I've ever experienced. It was absolutely amazing. I love Dan and Phil with every piece of my heart, and yeah, I really hope that this was not the last time that they are in Australia, because I hate thinking that that might have been my only chance that I got to meet them and see them in real life. And yeah, that was my experience of meeting them and seeing their show. It was absolutely incredible. I loved it so much. I'm so thankful and grateful that I got the chance to meet them and that I was second row for Interactive Introverts. I'm so thankful to all the people that I met. You guys are all amazing if you're watching this. I'm just very happy. It's just been a great time, and I'm just very, very happy and very thankful, and I honestly just couldn't be happier with how the experience was and that I actually finally got to meet them, and it was absolutely incredible. If you guys have gone to Interactive Introverts, if you've met them or if you've just seen the show, I would absolutely love to know your experiences, so please let me know down in the comments. I would absolutely love to know. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, you can give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. Like I said, let me know down in the comments if you have been to Interactive Introverts. I would love to know. And you can subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos from me. And yeah, that's going to be about it for this video. I'm Tegan, this is Bookwormia, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!